Can you hear me? The sound of once busy airports is gone. Now, only the wind moves through empty seats. Across the United States, from Alaska to Florida, airports are silent. It is the quietest time in American aviation history. Billions of dollars were spent to save tourism. Many promises were made to bring it back. But still, the American skies remain empty. In June 2025, international visitors to the U.S. dropped by 6.6%. Foreign tourists spent $8 billion less than before. In many airports, international gates have not been used for months. But this is not just about numbers. It's about why the world once dreamed of visiting America but now stays away. Has the American dream turned into an empty dream? In this video, we will explore the truth behind the silent airports. We'll see why recovery efforts failed and what's really happening. The media says tourism is returning. The FAA says 3 million people fly every day. But when you walk into Midwest airports, the seats are still empty. The United States has more than 500 active airports. Many of them are working at less than 40% capacity. International flights still haven't returned to pre-pandemic levels. The government tried to fix it with programs like the Tourism Recovery Act. States even offered tax discounts and local flight campaigns. But tourists did not come back. In June 2025, international arrivals dropped again by 6.6%. Foreign spending also fell by another $8 billion. In Alaska, flights are down by half compared to 2019. In Atlantic City, there were days with 0 international flights. Meanwhile, Bangkok, Dubai, and Tokyo are full of visitors. Many American airports now look like theaters after a show. The lights are still on, but the audience is gone. Empty chairs tell the story of a silent crisis. The question is, why is this happening? Why are departure gates so quiet in a country once known for freedom? Let's look at the reasons. A domestic flight costs around $600. A simple hotel night in Miami can cost $300. Breakfast for 2 costs more than $40. Travel has become too expensive for many Americans. The cost of flying inside the US is 27% higher than before. The average round-trip ticket is now $470. Hotel prices are up 18%, and food is up 12%. A short trip can now cost as much as a month's rent. So, people are traveling less and saving money. Many now prefer to drive instead of fly. They go for picnics in nearby parks instead of vacations. Even in the richest country, people are counting every cent. A German couple canceled their Florida trip. They found a flight from Miami to Orlando cost more than Europe flights. They said, "We wanted to explore America, but America doesn't want to be explored." The government blames supply issues and fuel costs. But people know that printing too much money reduces its value. And when money loses value, dreams fade away too. Travel isn't only about moving places. It's about feeling free and alive. When people count every penny, they lose that excitement. A country that once sent people to the moon now struggles with 2-hour flights. Many airports still run below half capacity. Not because of fewer planes, but fewer travelers. The sky is silent not from a lack of flights, but from lost dreams. But money isn't the only reason. Another reason is fear not of flying, but of the airport experience. Security checks feel stressful and unfriendly. Shoes off, belts off, laptops out, water bottles thrown away. It feels less like traveling and more like being questioned. Since 2023, security checks have increased at 40 airports. Waiting times are up by 30%. 1 in 5 international travelers say US airports feel stressful. In Singapore, travelers get free coffee while waiting. In Dubai, you just scan your passport and go through. But in America, people still take off their shoes like it's 2002. A 68-year-old man said, "I'd rather drive 10 hours than fly. Travel should be relaxing, not tiring and frustrating." Older people now prefer to stay home. The problem is not just price but the experience itself. Security is important, but it shouldn't feel like punishment. Airports should make people feel free, not trapped. Many tourists don't want to feel like suspects. When the welcome feeling is gone, airports stay empty. The world now sees America as less friendly and open. In the past, people came to America to see the future. Now they go to Asia to see it happening. Thailand, Japan, and the UAE are growing fast. According to Oxford Economics, US visitors will fall by 8.2%, while other countries grow by 15 to 25%. The world is booking more flights except to America. America's image has changed. It's no longer just the land of freedom and movies. Now it's known for high prices and long paperwork. Getting a US visa can take more than 200 days. People joke, if getting a visa were a degree, I'd have a PhD. In Bangkok, tourists get smiles and free iced tea. In New York, the first sign says, "Security checkpoint, 2-hour wait." Which one would you choose? America is still beautiful. The Grand Canyon still amazes people. Times Square still shines bright at night. But those lights no longer feel warm. After years of crisis and inflation, the dream feels distant. The world no longer comes to America to dream. They go somewhere else to rest. A Japanese travel blogger once wrote, "I chose Seoul because I felt more welcome there." That's not criticism. It's a gentle reminder. Travel is not only about seeing beautiful places. It's also about feeling respected and valued. And it seems America is forgetting that part. Clear data shows that tourism states like Nevada, Florida, and Hawaii are losing 10 to 15% of their income from international visitors. Thousands of small businesses that depend on foreign tourists are struggling to survive. The most ironic thing is that America once sold the dream to the world. Now it must lower prices just to get people interested again. But I still believe that the dream hasn't disappeared. It's only sleeping. Because America still has kind people. There are still warm smiles in small roadside cafes. There is still real hospitality, it's just not being promoted anymore. Maybe all it takes is a change in attitude, a little more respect for visitors, and the American dream could wake up again. The question is, does the world still want to see that dream? Or have they found it somewhere else? It's strange. The country that once made everyone want to visit is now seeing its own people wanting to leave. According to new reports, more Americans are traveling abroad. While fewer foreigners are visiting the US, that means the American sky is still full of planes, but most are flying out, not in. In 2025, Mexico, Canada, and Europe will be the top travel choices for Americans. Many retirees now prefer drinking margaritas in Cancun instead of morning coffee in Chicago. It's not because they hate America. They're just tired of high prices, tired of bad news, tired of feeling nothing ever changes. After the pandemic, people hoped for a new beginning. But instead of joy, they got baggage fees. Domestic flights are expensive, services are rigid, and the experience feels repetitive. So, they look beyond borders for something fresh and affordable. Some say traveling abroad isn't safe, but if it means cheaper tickets and better food, many think it's worth the risk. At Denver Airport, one small bakery once sold 300 muffins a day. Now, it sells less than 90. The owner said, "Americans don't fly for fun anymore. They only fly for business." It sounds simple, but it's sad. Because when people stop flying for joy, the economy also loses its wings. Every flight carries not just passengers, it carries hope. And when hope disappears, everything else slows down too. Of course, some people still love America. Some families still drive across states. Some campers still choose Utah over Paris. But there are fewer of them now. To love a place, you must feel that the place loves you back. Maybe we don't need more ads saying, "Welcome to America." We need Americans to rediscover their own homeland. Because if Americans themselves lose interest in their country, how can we expect others to visit? Maybe what America really needs right now isn't more airports but more trust. Billions of dollars were spent to save American tourism. Yet 15 airports are still empty. What went wrong? After the pandemic, the government launched a $1 billion recovery plan to restore tourism, help the economy, and create jobs. But half the money still sits on paper. And much of the rest was spent on billboards, ads, and fancy renovations at airports where no one flies. In Missouri, an airport expansion got $2 million. 8 months later, it still had 0 international flights. In Arizona, they installed big LED screens to promote tourism, but the restrooms still didn't have hot water. The government says they're boosting the economy. The states say they're investing. But passengers still wait 3 hours at security lines. People are spending money to say things are getting better instead of actually making them better. That's the real problem. Policies are being made by people who never carry suitcases. When leaders ignore emotion, people lose hope. Now, every state promotes its own slogan: visit Texas, discover Florida, fly California. But no one asks who will actually fly here. There's no unified visa system. No strong international campaign. Money keeps moving like lost luggage, flying around, but never reaching its destination. The tourism industry doesn't need more slogans. It needs real experiences. Tourists don't want to see "we're back" logos. They want to see real smiles, fair ticket prices, and a feeling of welcome. But even in the silence, there's still hope. Some places are trying something new. San Diego is working directly with an Asian airline to reopen routes. Oregon is spending more on training service staff instead of advertising. These are small steps, but they matter. Because when policies listen to people, airport gates reopen. Not just for tourists but for faith in America itself. Maybe empty airports aren't a failure. Maybe they're mirrors showing what America feels like today. A country that once connected the whole world now feels distant, even from itself. Airports are where people meet, say goodbye, and reunite. But when those gates are quiet, it means something deeper is missing. It's about loneliness, a kind spreading across the country. People are still busy, still online, but more disconnected than ever. Different in beliefs, divided in opinions, unsure about the future. 15 empty airports aren't just empty buildings. They are 15 mirrors reflecting America's mood. A place where the world once lined up to enter, but now only echoes of Americans remain, asking themselves, are we still a destination for the world? Or just a stop for ourselves? In the 1990s, people came to America to study, work, and dream. Now they go to Seoul for technology, Tokyo for order, and Dubai for luxury. America is still great, but it feels like a once famous star, now sitting quietly, watching others shine. America once taught the world how to fly. Now it watches others fly past. But this isn't the end. Maybe these empty airports are a pause, a moment to reflect. Because what made America special was never its ads, but its people. It was the smile at the border, the pilot's friendly voice, the warm welcome that made travelers feel at home. Travel isn't just about planes and tickets. It's about people. And when people show real kindness, airports come alive again. Maybe America doesn't need tourists to feel lonely, it's already feeling that way itself. But the beauty of America is that it can always start over. Empty airports can be sad, but they can also remind us to look inward to remember why we started flying in the first place. Those 15 quiet airports are not just about the economy. They are mirrors of freedom, faith, and dreams that once inspired the world. And those dreams are still here, just waiting to be rediscovered. When Americans start believing in their country again, the world will follow. Because tourism, like trust, can't be bought. It grows through respect, kindness, and sincerity. A smile at the gate, a flight that leaves on time, a simple, welcome to America. Sometimes, that's worth more than $1 billion plan. These empty airports are not the end of the story. They're just a comma in a long sentence, a moment before America learns to fly again. Because despite everything, America is still a place where new beginnings are always possible. And maybe, just maybe, tomorrow, we fly again.